Hi, I'm Larry and welcome to my studio. Today's lesson is going to be a pastel lesson. We're going to do a project. This is from a photo I took. This is a monarch butterfly sitting on some lovely lavender flowers. I'm going to walk you through this and I hope that you'll have a good time. So let me set this up so I can show you what I'm going to do. Thank you for watching. Okay, what I want to show you is my drawing, and I took it from this. You'll see that I've got rule of thirds grid drawn on here. And if you're interested in doing this project, if you go to the blog spot, you'll see the link to the page where you can find the reference material and the this drawing. And what I do after I make a drawing is that I scan it into my computer and save it. And then when I'm, like if I want to do this again, I can make this any size. I just made this to fit on a sheet of paper I already had ready. And then what I did to transfer it is that I put chalk all over the back. That's just a blue pastel. And then I went over all of my lines. And then this is a piece of commercial sanded paper. I work on sanded paper. You can do this on regular pastel paper if you want, or if you make your own paper, you can do that. This is a very fine grit. I didn't notice what grit it is, but it's a very fine grit, and I had this already made up. This is a 9x9, and I've spray mounted it on this is a piece of foam core. So that's what I've got going here. I have also taken and I have sorted out some colors that I'm going to be using, and I pre-sorted them because it takes longer to find the color than to use it. And so I sort them out and have the separate little box. If I need more, I've still got all of my pastels off to the side where you can't see it. And how I determined that was that I took my reference photo and then I brought up colors to something that I thought was close. And then if you squint, when the color kind of disappears, then that's close. It's at least the same value. And so that's how I went through and looked at all of these different colors. This one was hard to find, so I'll probably have to mix colors. Down here, it's got a dark green, but squinting is good. It comes in good for a lot of reasons. It tells you your values. If things disappear, then they're close to the same value. So that's what we're going to do today. And if you're new to pastel and you think, oh, that looks really hard, I don't think I can do that. Well, once you've already set yourself up in saying that you can't do something, chances are you probably can't. Think of it as a challenge. Lose the words I can't and think of it as a challenge. You only can paint this one stroke at a time. One color chalk, one stroke of each chalk. And it's like a puzzle that you're going to put together. So that's what I want you to do, is to think of it more in those terms rather than seeing it as something that'll resemble this with any luck at all. You can't paint the finished project. You can only paint this one stroke of chalk at a time. And if you don't have the same colors as what you see there, get as close to you can in value. And again, that's where squinting comes in. Squint, and if it's close to value, it'll disappear. And as long as you don't tell somebody, then they're not going to know it's any different. And if they do, just say it was, your artistic rendition of this. So I'm going to get started. And usually what I like to do is to just kind of block in my subject first. And so I'm going to start with the butterfly, and just come in and this is my that dark brown I showed you before. Now, putting it up here, it's, may need to have a little bit of something else put into it. That, to me, that looks a little bit on the light side once I see it there. So I'm going to take, this is a dark blue. This is like an indigo blue. And I'm just going to add some of that to my brown there. Now, I wish I could give you better guidance as far as colors are concerned, but pastels, the running joke is you never have the right color. So it becomes one of those things that you have to kind of just wing it. If it comes close to the color, that's all you can do. This is another one of those colors. And I'll put in several of these and then come over. I like to just, put my color down first and then come in and blend later. Now this looks a little bright, but it's not the final color that I'm going to be using. So I'm going to switch over here and put in some of this orange. Again, that looks kind of bright, but it's not the only color I'm going to be using. I think I'll just, and I'm not too worried about going over any of the black areas or anything, because I'll put all of that stuff in later. This is underpainting. This isn't the final thing. This is just underpainting. Come back. I'm going to pick up some of this redder color, put that in there. Maybe even some of that darker brown, especially down here. Now there's two wings. This is the top part of the wing, and then this is the bottom half. They kind of have four separate wings on the butterfly. So now this right now would be probably considered chalk mixing. I did a little video on mixing with chalk or blending with your finger or something else. Let's see, let's put, this is just a little bit different color. And you have to decide what works for you. If you like the chalk mixing, stick with that. If you like it a smoother color. I've got about 4 different colors of brown or orange up in here right now. Okay, so I want to take this outside and blow the dust off, and so I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I wanted to take this outside to blow the chalk dust off, so I didn't get it all over myself or anything else. If you're in a classroom situation, don't blow your chalk off around other people. It's very fine particles, and if they have respiratory problems, it can be really hard on them. So take it outside, either tap it into a trash can or just blow it away from you. Don't blow it into the wind. But that's the polite thing to do. So, okay, now what I want to do is to see what I've got going here. And this is a color shaper. I don't know if you can see that. This is got a little rubber tip on it. It's soft, and it's like having little fingers. Even my fingers are a little bit big for this area. So I'm just going to use the color shaper to blend my colors here, to see kind of what I have. I have a paper towel down here to wipe off my color shaper or to dry my fingers off. I've also got a wet washcloth next to me. So if I get my fingers too dirty, I can always come in and kind of wash them off a little bit and then dry them. That way I don't contaminate my colors too much. I try not to. But now you can kind of see how this blending works. Start in down here at the base where it's darker, and then kind of pull that color on up into the lighter area. And just kind of blend it in. I am trying to follow the direction of the growth of the wing here. And I see that I need to put a little bit more color. I have the picture is right below where I'm working, so I'm looking down at that and checking to see if I'm getting close to what I'm hoping for. Now these areas here can almost blend together because those little black stripes in between I can just put on afterwards. Just kind of getting the chalk off. Now, I talk about people who are new and haven't tried something like this, and they're afraid. Oh, I can't do that. And she makes it look so easy or whatever. Fear's not going to help you. Fear is not your friend. Besides, what are you going to do? You're going to ruin a piece of paper? Take it outside, dust it off. You'll get most of it off. Take hard, like a bristle brush, and just dust it off, and then try it again. This isn't rocket science. This isn't, nobody's going to die. That's what I tell my students in class when they start getting all upset. So it's not perfect the first time. Mine weren't perfect. There's a learning curve. I mean, I didn't know how to do videos till I started doing these, and I looked at it as a challenge. My students wanted some instruction, and I needed something to do. I had a camera that I didn't even know would take videos until about a year ago. And so I just came in and kind of read up on it, and I've been practicing, and hopefully I'm getting a little bit better. But if I had have thought, oh, well, I have never done it before, so obviously I can't do it. Well, that's not going to get anybody any place. You always get little words of wisdom from me while I'm trying to paint. But I want to encourage you. You cannot hurt this. You know, you won't know until you try. Okay, so that looks pretty good there. I'm looking down at my photograph, and I think I want to put a little bit more of this color in there. And just kind of blend that up. And a little bit more of this dark blue right at the base here. Now, pastels are really kind of fun. I find them, for me, to be the fastest medium. You know, I can, you know, if I'm not sitting here talking, I can get one of these things done in a couple of hours. Whereas the watercolor or the acrylic might take me, you know, a day or two to finish, unless I'm working on it all day long. But the pastels work really, really quick. Again, I'm checking my reference material. Little bits of that blue. Some of these are a little bit darker because they're probably overlapping a little bit with each other, or some of the black body is showing through. But notice I'm pulling it in the direction of the way the wing grows. That's important. This isn't a wall, this is a butterfly wing. Okay, so I've got that. Now I know you probably saw all of that little stuff there and that intimidated you. You know, it's not to worry. I'm not going to do most of this fluffy stuff here until the end. I do want to get my butterfly in, and you know, just the basics in. I will come in. This is kind of a weird pink color. It just looks like it's in there, and I'm just going to underpaint. This is all underpainting some of the centers of this. There's all little individual flowers. Missed one right there. Make them different shapes, different sizes. Some are looking at you, some are kind of on their side. This is just the basing them in. I'm not going to put the fluffy stuff in until after I've gotten the background in. Okay, so I'm gonna go off camera. I'm gonna finish filling those in. I'll come back and show you how I'm gonna put the stems in, and then we'll get to the background. So hang in there, I'll be right back. Okay, now I've gotten all those little centers for the flowers in. I hadn't really blended them. There are some new flowers down here in the corner which were a little bit different color. And those are just, this is a little bit pinker color for the newer blooms that are just starting to come out. And there are a little bit bit of pink centers in some of these, and it doesn't actually hurt to throw in some of this pink around here. You know, whenever you have a new color, you want to kind of throw it around and make it look like it belongs there. So I'm not gonna blend anymore. What I do want to do, I want to get my background in, and then I'll deal with the stems and other things. So I've got the light colors in, and I've got the butterfly kind of based in. Now I'm going to start with the background. And this background is just, if you look at this, this is just muted colors back here. I've, you know, used a wide aperture so that the things in the background got muted. I may or may not suggest that behind. Right now I'm, you know, I've did it in square format, so I don't know if I want to put that behind there or not. But right now I'm just going to do that muted green. And that's just going to be, this is kind of a lime green color. And I'm just going to put in here. Kind of go around some of my little flowers, bring it down in here. If I go over some of my stems, that's not a problem. You know, I can always put those back in. Right now I just want to get the background in, because it'll just be harder to get that background in if I do all the detail work now. And this is just kind of, I don't want it to look like a wall or something. I want there to be some movement with my chalk, so that it might suggest that there's something else back in there. I'm looking at this to see where I have light colors. I want the light colors, so when I put darks on top of it, they'll show up. Kind of going around my butterfly here. So I get some of that light behind him. Now I'm going to switch colors. I'm going to find like the next lightest green, which is this one, and throw some of that in there. I may have to do something to tone this down, because both of these greens, green is a challenging color to work with, because the greens that you have to buy, they can be really green. Okay, here's another color. This one's a little softer, but I'm going to throw some of that in there too. You know, when you need to mute a color, you know, to make it less, you know, maybe it's just way too much. You know, most of these greens are looking way too much. You have to sometimes add a complementary color. And what that means is this is green, so I've got to throw in some form of red here. I'm just going to go right over my leaf, throw this down in here. So once I get this done, I'm thinking about what I want to put in here to kind of soften that green, to make it less of a commercial looking green. and kind of also gray it, push it to the background. Switch colors. This is a really dark green here. I want that up in the corners. Throw some of that in here. That just kind of breaks up some of that light. Makes it look like there's shadows in the back. Coming around here. Getting color. Now it may be hard to see on the video when I'm using these dark colors, but they take some of that black away. The black itself is actually working to my advantage here. It's kind of darkening this color. All right, I'm going to take some, let's see, I'm just checking. Okay, this is kind of a soft purple gray here. Just going to throw some of that in. That works in the corners. Purple's got a little bit of red in it. Red is the complement to green. So that will soften some of that darker green. And I'm going to take, this is that color that I used in the butterfly, and I'm just going to lightly go over this. I just need a little bit to just soften these greens. This is a burnt sienna color. And burnt sienna is in the orange family, which means that it's got some red in it. So I'm going to come here. Do that. Now I'm going to take and start in the lighter area and just start blending. So you can see how just by putting that little bit of sienna in there softens that green. See that? Just kind of softens it. Look at that's almost a perfect match for what I have in the picture. Not that I'm trying to make a perfect match, but it does soften and mute those colors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to finish blending this so that I have all of my background done, and then I'll come back in and start showing you how to put the twigs and things in. So I'll be right back.